is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about what faith is, what faith isn't, and how to build faith. And I'm also going to talk about the ladder exercise. So I used to believe that faith was um, some mysterious feeling that I had to figure out how to embody for things to manifest in this reality, right? I had first heard it a lot when I was reading the Bible about 8 years ago. I was doing some very thorough studying in the Bible, and it talks about faith being the thing that pleases God. It talks about faith is the thing that makes prayers get answered. And so I was really bent out of shape for a long time, actually, on do I have faith? What is faith? Do I believe? Um, and after a long time, right, it took me a long time to really figure out what faith is. And once I started seeing my manifestations unfold without this mysterious feeling called faith, or with whatever, I realized what faith actually was. So, when it comes to manifesting, right, it says, it's faith, imagination plus faith, right? And, but that faith part, right? What is faith, right? Faith is a knowing that something is going to come to pass, right? So, how do you develop faith in the first place if that's really what it is, right? Um, I come to find out that the requirement for manifestation isn't to have some feeling of faith. What it really comes down to is bringing the scene into your mind's eye. That's it, right? If you can make it feel real, then it will manifest. And it's that knowing that what you are doing is manifesting it into reality. That is what the term faith is referred to as, right? But with certainty, we have manifested everything in our life, right? We have manifested where we are right now. We have manifested you watching this at this exact moment, all the events, all the people, the way they treat you, your position in life, all of those you have manifested up until this point, right? So, did you have a feeling of faith while you were during your life, right? During the regular moments as you just carry on through life, right? Do you have a feeling of faith with you at all times? The description of faith that you would think faith means, right? Do you keep that with you every moment of every day? No, it's just a feeling of naturalness. That's it, right? That faith being knowing that you're thinking of something or imagining something and it just happening, right? It's just the opposite of doubt, right? It's just um, believing that when you bring that scene into your mind's eye, it's actually going to do something. So the way to build faith would be to simply put this stuff to the test, to bring scenes before your mind's eye, to write those lists of things that you desire, to change your inner conversations. Anything that you generally do to manifest, doing those things repeatedly, putting it to the test, that is what builds faith, right? People say that my faith is strong. I know that imagination creates reality because I've been shown it thousands of times, countless times. So, and I know I have faith in knowing that you can do the same exact thing. The only thing you have to do is put it to the test and persist, right? Practice, do different things. So my faith started building when I first started doing imaginal acts, right? I used to have this feeling, I used to think that some things were created by me. I was like interjecting at points and manifesting things, but everything else was natural. But the more that I traced my thoughts, the more that I contemplated the things that I was thinking of, and the more that I consciously injected scenes into my imagination, explicitly putting this stuff to the test, the more manifestations that would unfold. And it came to a certain point, it was like a tipping point where I was convinced beyond the shadow of a doubt that I was creating this reality. And that is what people consider faith, knowing and being convinced that your imagination creates reality. So test it, put it to the test. Imagine for everything, every problem that comes up in your life, right? Because the imagination, which is God, is the solution to every problem that you will encounter in your life. It's a solution to all your dreams. Anything that you can imagine, your health, your wealth, your love, your happiness, other people, simply for every problem or anything that, any desire that comes up, create a scene in your imagination, play it, make it feel real, and let it go and just watch, right? I do this dozens of times per day, at least. I do it as soon as I wake up in the morning. I imagine the end of the day. When I get up, I make a list of a few things that I want to see manifest throughout my day. Any problem that arises during my day, I will create a scene which embodies a solution to that desire. When I'm driving to work, I have inner conversations with myself, or I'm at least contemplating things that I could be imagining, right? Before bed, I play my day back and I revise the scenes throughout my day. And then right before bed, the last thing I do before bed is imagine the one thing or different things, my big desires, right? Because that window right before sleep is the most efficient to imagine. Because at that point, our consciousness is kind of dwindling down to almost shut down, and it's the subconscious that's creating these things. So whatever we can impress on our subconscious mind is what's going to be created in this world, right? Normally it's through the daily events, our thoughts, behaviors, moods throughout the day, and our consciousness. That's what's injecting our subconscious mind with the things that we see, right? And that's why we are continuously normally creating the same day over and over. That's why our days have a lot of consistency to them. But when we supersede that, when we inject these imaginal acts into our subconscious, when we emulate the natural process of thought, and we basically supersede and replace the everyday chatter that for me, like I replace the regular chatter, that my inner conversations. I replace my natural imaginal acts with the things that I desire. So I just make it into a routine and a habit. But what happens is I see tons of manifestations all throughout the day, and it builds my faith, right? And so I want to talk about two experiences that I had. One of them was just before. There's an excerpt of a book that I read called, and the excerpt is Acceptance, right? And I was sitting down, I was listening to someone share on this, right? And during that time, I had a book out. I had a Neville book out, which was At Your Command. And I was reading it, underlining things. And I took my wallet out so that I can take out a business card so that I can trace my words with it. And in doing that, I took out a business card, I put it down, and I started to, go line by line reading. And about 20 minutes later, as I was about to put my business card back into my wallet, I looked at it, and on the top, it was Acceptance. It was an excerpt from the book that the man was reading, and I inadvertently, subconsciously, opened my wallet, took the business card out, which I rarely do. I don't really do that. I don't know what prompted me to do that. I just know now that I was moved through compulsion to show me a synchronicity in this world, right? Building faith all the time. And the last thing I want to talk about is the ladder exercise, right? So Neville used to tell his audiences, the first time they would encounter him, he would say to, put all over the place that you will not climb a ladder, right? Post-it notes. Remind yourself you will not climb a ladder. Tell yourself you will not climb a ladder. But at night, before you go to bed, imagine yourself climbing up and down a ladder, first person, over and over until you fall into sleep, right? And he would tell them, for those of you, he would say, do this. Tell yourself you're not going to climb a ladder. Make post-it notes all over the place. You're not going to climb a ladder, but at nighttime, imagine that you're climbing up and down a ladder. And then he said, for those of you who climb the ladder, show up next week at such and such time, right? So it was a test. It was for people who were going to put this to the test. So those who did it, right, they would, so first of all, whatever you imagine before bed, that will, if you can imagine it solidly real or close to it and bring that into bed, it will manifest into this reality. No matter what you say, no matter all your will could be against that. But if you do that before bed, you will do whatever it is that you set out to do, whatever you've imagined, right? And another thing is that he was trying to stress here was the action that you take, even negative, right? So saying, I will not climb a ladder, well, what are you thinking about when you're saying that? You're still thinking about climbing a ladder, right? And it's a lesson to show you that even in its negative light, if you say, I will not climb a ladder, well, too bad, you're still thinking about climbing a ladder. If you say, I am not poor, well, that's too bad. You're still going to be poor, right? That's what you're thinking about. Instead, what you would do is imagine in the affirmative light, I am rich, right? Let the weak man say, I am strong, right? In the affirmative light, you want to bring that positive action, that fulfilled desire, the end, not the negative of it, because you're still thinking about the negative. You want to bring the positive solution into your mind's eye. That's what you want to think about. That's what you want to decree. Always the end and the positive end, right? Because that is what is going to manifest. So anyway, I've done this experiment. I remember I did not do it. It was actually amazing. I was going through, I had watched the video prior. I was going through my Facebook group and I saw someone ask to explain it. And so I explained it to them in a few sentences, what I had just told you. And I hit send. I went to work. By the time I got to work, it was our first day in a new office, right? We had moved downtown San Diego. We were still in downtown, but we moved up the road and up on 4th. But I walk into work and there is a room in the upstairs. There's a room that's outside, right? It's like there's glass surrounding this room, right? You can open the door, go in, and I looked in this room. I walked in the room. I went, outside technically, and I looked to the right, and there's a ladder there. And I wasn't thinking at this time. I just saw the ladder, and what I did was I walked up to the ladder. I put one hand up. I put my foot on it, and at that moment, I remembered that I had just in my mind's eye done a very brief, simple scene. And in the end, within an hour, I was climbing up a ladder, which is exactly Neville's point here. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you like this, please scroll down, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon, go to my website, sovereignmind.com. Thank you.